Good morning, everybody. This is Arojero, and this is Q&A. The basic okay. So the premise of this, I wanted a little interaction. People ask me questions. I will post some questions and answer them, and we can make a thing out of this. If you ever have questions, something you want to know about getting ready to go to Japan, because if you watch my last video, then you'll know I'm a couple weeks out. I'm going to Tokyo. I'm going to Shinjuku. They originally told me it was going to be Osaka, but once the offer came through and the visa became official, Shinjuku. So if you're a Tokyoite, definitely hit me up. And if you're not, just ask me questions. Let's talk about this, because I've had a really interesting experience getting ready to move to Japan. And again, I've lived in Japan for years past, so whatever you want to know, let's talk it out. I also do Japanese language questions, and I will hopefully not fuck it up. So, all right, let's get started. Question 1: Japanese food. This is a really basic, easy question, but let's do it anyway. Takoyaki is probably my number one. That is like a pancake ball, this big, that big. It's got a piece of octopus meat in it. Put some sauce on it, some mayonnaise, fish flakes. Delicious. And a cheap and easy. I love gyudon. And is beer a food? Okay. We'll throw that one in there too. Sapporo is my favorite Japanese beer. So next, I got some really insightful questions from Wasurechata. So thank you, Wasurechata, for sending me questions. His first question, not quite as insightful, but a really fun question. Do you have a go-to Japanese song you like to sing when at karaoke? And if so, what is it? My first go-to is Shima Uta. And my second is Shimanchu no Takara. Now, the reason why these became my go-to karaoke songs is because they were both covered by a California punk band in like the early 2000s. Probably about 2001, maybe even late 90s. They were covered by the California punk band Alistair. And so I was a teenager. I loved this music, loved punk rock, especially kind of like California punk, and I loved Japan. And so then Scott Murphy, who was the bassist and lead vocalist, got really into Japan. They put out an album called Guilty Pleasures, and then he ended up doing his own project, and he released 4 Guilty Pleasures albums, and they're all covered rock songs in Japan. And now he does a Japanese tour with Rivers Cuomo from Weezer. This is Scott Murphy. It's called Scott and Rivers. There's a Rivers and Scott. Whatever. It's awesome. They are awesome. They tour Japan. They do Japanese stuff. And I still listen to Scott's music. His last album didn't do really well. I think it was called Balance. But I still listen to it all the time, and I think it's cool. That one's in English. So there you have it. Short answer, Shima Uta and Shimanchu no Takara. Okay, Wasurechata's next question. I've noticed the phenomenon of Japanese people responding in English after a gaijin starts a conversation in Japanese. It has been getting a lot of attention lately with the videos, but we're speaking Japanese by Ken Tanaka. That is such a funny video to me. Good call out. My question is, how do you normally deal with it? Does it bother you, or do you just tend to ignore it? Excellent question, and I'm really excited to be able to address it, because I have seen people giving this question and this topic some attention, and I've formed an opinion, and so now I get to talk about it. And yes, this has happened to me quite a bit. And how do I? And the question is posed interestingly enough. How do you normally deal with it? Does it bother you, or do you just tend to ignore it? Well, the way that I tend to deal with it is ignore it. I will just keep speaking Japanese if they're speaking English to me, and that works fine. that works fine. They speak English to me, I speak Japanese back, and that keeps going until somebody gives in. It's a game of tug of war. Let's try that. Tug of war, just tug of war. It's a game of tug of war, and we'll see who gives in first and switches over to the language that the other person's speaking. I usually win. I can hang, you know. I just, you know, I can hang. I've got a heart and soul of steel. You can speak English to me all day long, and I will answer you in Japanese. It's a challenge. That's my male ego coming at you again. It kind of does. I guess it kind of bothers me. But then again, I get it, because sometimes there are Japanese people that, you know, they know I speak Japanese. They maybe can't speak English as well as I can speak Japanese. And so it would make sense that they would speak Japanese with me, but they want to practice. Now, sometimes there are people that speak English, Japanese people that speak English better than I speak Japanese, and so it would make sense that we would speak in English. But I still want to speak in Japanese because I want to practice. So, you know, as long as we both can communicate, and it does work. It may sound weird, but it does work. You know, they speak in English, I speak in Japanese. That works. We're able to communicate just fine, and both parties get to practice. So, as long as they are down to speak to me and have a conversation with me while I'm speaking Japanese, and they usually are, I'm fine with it, and I actually find it pretty amusing. So, thank you, big shout out to Wasure Chata for coming up with some good, insightful questions. Please send more. Let's do this again soon. Again, the venue, the studio. My studio will no longer be the shot location for the Ero Jero channel in 2 weeks. I will be gone. It'll be a little more. It'll be closer to 3 weeks, but I will be in Tokyo, Shinjuku. So Tokyo Whites, please say hi. Everybody else, please send questions. And again, that email is erojero6, that is EROJERO6 at gmail.com. And also get me on Google+. And that is everything that I have for you today. Yoroshiku onegai shimasu.